Welcome back, everybody, to EPL Fantasy Tips. I'm your host, as always, Simon Barrico. I hope you're all having a very good week. For this game week 14 of FPL, I've decided to play the wild card. Yes, it's a little bit late, but better late than never. There are only a few weeks remaining, so I reckon it was time to play it. And if you've had a chance to watch my previous videos, you can see that there is a difference on the pitch this week. For this week, I've decided to research some assisting FPL software and applications, and I found one called Fantasy Football Fix, which I think is quite valuable, probably one of the better ones out there. They are free. As you can see, there are some small dots below each player. Now, what that means is it suggests if it is green, that is an easy team that they are playing. However, if it is red, it is more difficult. Let's have a look at the goaltender, Alisson, for an example. If I hover over the dot, you can see Alisson plays Leeds, which is an easy team. However, in the next game week, they play Spurs, which is more difficult, so it is in red. And then the next game, Southampton, relatively easy. And then they play Aston Villa, again, relatively easy. And lastly, Leicester, also an easy team. So for each player, you'll see the same sequence. Now for this game week, as I've said, I played the wild card. So you'll notice there are a few changes, not many. I did have a lot of players on that I liked, so I did not transfer them. Though you can see one major change at forward with Haaland, and Bernardo I brought in as well, and Martinelli, and a few players on the bench who you cannot see right now, though they are also new. Now, with this new software, this new application, you can also see a little face next to the player. Some are green, some are grey, not very happy. I believe that suggests that many people have selected these players. So quite a few people have selected Cancelo, Trippier, Martinelli not so much, Zaha not as much as the others, but Haaland obviously very highly owned, and Mitrovic and Tony are in the middle somewhere. Though if you see a green face, that means they have not been picked by many people. So Van Dijk, Rashford, Bernardo, Alisson on my squad. That's a brief description of Fantasy Football Fix and that application that may help you in further game weeks. I'm going to keep it on for now and see how I do. Alright, so let's discuss the team briefly. I have a 3-4-3 formation as usual. I haven't swayed away from this formation in a while. Let's start at the back with Alisson. Now with those 5 dots below the player, I think it's quite helpful. You don't have to go into the fixtures section, since you know already from just looking at the colours. You can see it's green, red, green, 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 and on the pitch, same thing, green, red, green, green, green. So when I discuss the players this week, I think I'll just go into the history briefly. So with Alisson, he did very well in game week 11 and 12. 13, that was a shocker. I'm not sure what happened that game. Forest, something in the trees, I believe. Maybe Liverpool was smoking some, I don't know. Alright, on to the defenders. Van Dijk. ICT, quite strong, which I like. Low selection rate, which I also like. History for Van Dijk. Just like Alisson, he did very well in 11 and 12, though with Forest, the shocker, who knows, didn't do very well there. Unfortunately, on to Cancelo. Quite an easy schedule for Man C for the next 5 games. History for Cancelo, he did very well against Southampton. Liverpool was a blank, and then Brighton. It did not fare too well in that match, though Cancelo's a good one to own for the next 5 game weeks, as you can see. Leicester, Fulham, Brentford, Leeds, and Everton on the fifth one there. On to Trippier. History for Trippier. He's done really, really well since game week 6. However, in the last game week, he slipped up a little bit. Though I'm hopeful for the next few games, he'll pick up the slack a little bit. On to the midfielders now. Rashford, I've kept him. Despite playing the wild card, I've kept him. I think he's just tremendous value, and he will return to his original form that he had last year and previous seasons. Fixtures, again, not so great in the last 5 game weeks, though he did show signs of his former self in game week 3 and 6. So there's Rashford. Martinelli is a new pick for me. I brought him in. I know a lot of people have selected him, though he represents great value. He's put up points in nearly every game, almost. He's passed the 10-point mark, up to 10, past 10 twice. First 2 game weeks did well as well. He gets a lot of opportunities, and his ICT index is one of the best in the league. On to Zaha, Mr. Dependability himself, Wilfred Zaha. I think I'll just keep him in for the remainder of the season. Fixtures are easy for Crystal Palace. He had a goal against Wolves. Didn't fare too well against Everton. Though it seems like every second game week or so he scores a goal or gets an assist. Next we have Bernardo. I picked him instead of Foden because he has a lower selection rate, ICT index is still strong, and he plays almost every game full minutes, and he had his very good form recently, 2 assists, lots of assists in these game weeks as well, had even scored a couple goals. Fixtures for Man C are very good, all in the green, which we like to see. And lastly, let's move on to the forward groups. Believe it or not, I've brought in Haaland. I couldn't wait any longer. I've jumped on the bandwagon. He's just a monster. He's putting up points left, right, and centre. Very high selection rate, but his ICT index is the best in the league, along with his threat and as well as his influence. Last game week, he had 2 goals. He's had 3 hat tricks and another couple goals in the first game week. So, Haaland, probably going to keep him on for the rest of the season. And next we have Mighty Mitrovic. I've kept him on as well. Low selection rate, strong ICT index. He scored a goal in the past 3 game weeks and went on a streak here at the beginning as well. You can't go wrong with Mitrovic. He's great value. And last but not least, we have Ivan Toney, the last forward of the group. History, he scored 1 hat-trick, scored a couple against Brighton, and also netted 3 on those games you can see there in game week 1, 3, and 10. Fixtures coming up for Brentford are looking okay for the next 2. I'll probably take him off the bench against Man C, though then again he does score against the more difficult competition, so I could just keep him on. We'll see. Alright, so there you have it. I've captained Haaland, vice-captain is Toney. Let me know what you think in the comments. As always, this is Simon Berrycloth, and this is EPL Fantasy Tips on YouTube.